How surreal must it be to walk back into the Department of Justice, the very people who tried to persecute you, who tried to target you, who tried to take you out of the 2024 election, brought up trumped up charges against you, and they still lost. And now, not only are you President of the United States, but you are back in the belly of the beast giving a speech to them. This is just the absolute best case scenario for this man, and I cannot wait to get into today's video with you. So my name is Clayton Kearns from TrendingPolitics.com. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and like this video. It helps us out in such a big way in the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us to get out the conservative message out to the world. We need your help. Just give us a like, and let's get started. So, starting off, President Trump walks into the lobby, and just get a glimpse of the picture, the portrait that these DOJ employees have to see every time they come into work. And the caption here from Rapid Response 47 says, President Donald J. Trump arrives at the same Department of Justice that was weaponized against him. Now his portrait hangs in the lobby. Take a look. And take a look at his reaction. It's just hilarious.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Oh, wow. You look like such a nice person. That's a rough picture. That's a rough picture.
We're waiting on JD's to go up.
That's good.
Imagine you tried to persecute this man, and now his picture hangs up in your lobby every single day. There's a hilarious meme out there where it's a bunch of people pointing at the camera saying, you thought Trump was going to prison, and now he's your president. And this just has to be so surreal. So let's watch a couple minutes of this clip here where he talks about all of the weaponization that was against him, okay? We have the Russia hoax. Actually, in the video that I made yesterday where we talked about Tulsi Gabbard laying down the hammer on all of the 51 intelligence agents who signed off on the Hunter Biden Russia whole scandal, he talks about them here. Remember, these people did a coordinated effort against him to try to derail him, and he's back. This image right here should go down in American history. The man that they tried to bring down with that logo behind him. This is just the best optics, some of the best optics I've ever seen in political history. So let's watch a few minutes of this.
But first, we must be honest about the lies and abuses that have occurred within these walls. Unfortunately, in recent years, a corrupt group of hacks and radicals within the ranks of the American government obliterated the trust and goodwill built up over generations. They weaponized the vast powers of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to try and thwart the will of the American people. You remember the 51 intelligence agents that said, as an example, that Hunter Biden's laptop from hell came from Russia when they knew it came right from his bedroom. They knew that. It was a big lie, and they knew it so well. They spied on my campaign, launched one hoax and disinformation operation after another, broke the law on a colossal scale, persecuted my family, staff, and supporters, raided my home, Mar-a-Lago, and did everything within their power to prevent me from becoming the President of the United States.
Listen, like, I know that we all pay attention to politics so much that it's all become kind of secondhand nature of like, oh, well, okay, yes, they spied on his campaign, they did. This is supposed to be one of the most trusted institutions that we have in this country, the Department of Justice, the part of our government that is supposed to pursue actual criminals, not to politically persecute people like Donald J. Trump. And now he's back in this spot giving a speech to them. This is just amazing. And then this was the line that went the most viral. You know, he had to throw this one in there.
I promised my wife I would never
Wait, let me turn up the volume.
Is a bad word, so just a little bad. The case against me was bullshit. And she correctly dismissed it. She correctly. Look at Emil, he's looking. That's interesting.
So I think we can safely say that the revenge tour is full steam, which we've known for these last 50 plus days. But now he doesn't care. He doesn't care what any of these people, and quite frankly, he doesn't have to win re-election. So, hey, if he's a little bit crass in the Department of Justice giving a speech to them, doesn't really matter too much. This clip here is also incredible. He says, our predecessors turned the Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice, and those days are over.
Our predecessors turned this Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice, but I stand before you today to declare that those days are over, and they are never going to come back. They're never coming back.
Guys, think about this. Joe Biden, if the roles were reversed and it was Trump in office trying to politically persecute Joe Biden when Joe Biden was running for president and Biden had 34 felony accounts, they launched investigations and tried to get him to try to take him out of the race, the media would have never let it go. But not only did the media not really care that Trump was being persecuted, but they spread the propaganda that the Biden administration, that their regime was pushing. This has been one of the most egregious violations of our Constitution and of our law in American history. And all I can do is hope to God that people end up in jail for all the things they did against President Trump. If our founders would have seen this, they would be absolutely beside themselves. So now let's actually take a look at an example of a woman who sadly lost her 15-year-old son because of an issue that the Biden administration did not care about. Maybe if President Trump, now of course we can never know, but maybe if President Trump was our president, this tragic story would have never been told. And then I have 2 more clips for you after this that you have to see as well.
Well, first I want to say thank you. I think this is the biggest honor of my entire life, being on stage with President Trump. But I want to tell you a little bit about my son, Weston, who absolutely loved President Trump. He had a beautiful Trump 2020 flag hanging in his bedroom, and he had it on the beach one day, and we took a picture, and it became our 2020 Christmas card with the most perfect slogan for President Trump: peace on earth. What would happen in the next 4 years would be devastational to our country and our safety of our children. And in 2022, Weston lost his life, a freshman in high school at the age of 15, from a single pill that took his life. The cartels were allowed to operate on American soil and took hundreds of thousands of American lives. And so we knew there was only one person that could save us from the devastation on our American soil, and that was President Trump.
Just let that sink in for a minute. And it is incredibly heartbreaking to realize that, and this is not to politicize a death, this is just to understand that there are very real consequences for not taking our border security seriously. There are very real consequences for not cracking down on fentanyl, for not cracking down on the cartels. We see the stats now. Border crossings are down 90% under Trump. People are not fleeing the country. The cartels are on notice. They're thinking twice about pulling off their shenanigans. We have troops on the border. We have military. We have the most secure border we've probably ever had in American history, even more secure than it was under President Trump's first term. This version of Trump is the best we've ever seen. And to think that her son might still be alive today if President Trump was our president all these years. And it's heartbreaking to see, and it's more heartbreaking to know that that Joe Biden didn't care about this issue. And so all we can do, I guess, is hope that going forward these lessons are learned. And even if a Democrat does come into office in 4 or 8 years, whatever it may be, because sadly that's just how the pendulum swings, right? And over history, power never stays with one side completely. But let's just hope that we can all agree that cracking down on fentanyl and cracking down on this horrible crisis in our country is something that we're going to prioritize going forward. And this is another clip that went crazy viral here. Trump just basically saying, all this law and order that's being laid down, we just needed a new president. We just needed a tone shift in our country.
For years, Democrats and the media kept saying that we needed new legislation. We had to have new legislation. We needed it immediately. And I never had legislation. I had the best border in the history of our country for almost 4 years. And by the time I got out, we had the lowest numbers ever. My favorite chart of all time was brought down that day. And on that chart said we had the lowest numbers ever. But it turned out that we really didn't need new legislation. All you needed was a new president.
And let that sink in. I mean, there's a classic clip from years ago when President Trump was first in office where Jorge Ramos of Univision was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper of CNN. And Jorge Ramos is like in Mexico and he's on the border and he's basically saying, Anderson, people are telling their families to not cross the border. They're saying, don't come to America right now. It's not a good time, which is ironic because it's like, yeah, now that laws are actually being enforced, it's not a good time to come. But, you know, once you're allowed to illegally cross again, then by all means come. Sadly, that's just the reality of the situation. But at the end of the day, when you have a strong person in the White House and you know that these laws are going to be enforced, you don't want to play around with it. But under Joe Biden, you had immigrants coming over here, and when they're being interviewed, they're saying straight up, yeah, we're here because Joe Biden is so lax on us. So, although President Trump dropped some absolute bombs and was very, very serious through this tone, he finished it off with a dance. And Johnny Maga here says, Trump is literally dancing on the graves of Merrick Garland and Jack Smith right now at the DOJ. What a time to be alive. Let's take it in. I think we can safely say that that's the first time in American history that YMCA was ever played in the DOJ building, right? At least in terms of like giving a speech. I mean, who knows? Maybe an employee was listening to it in their ears one day. I don't know. But I think we can safely say that that's the first time in American history YMCA has ever been played in a venue like that with the president dancing. This is a historic sight that we saw today, and I am just happy that the revenge tour is still going on and going strong, and the fact that they did everything they could. Like, do we understand the times that we're living through? Do we understand that these people try to take him down? Not only does he overcome all of their lawfare, but he wins the White House, the popular vote, the Electoral College. Every state and every county in the country moves to the right, and now he is back dancing in their faces. This is a great day in American history, and I'm glad to be sharing it with you. So if you like this video, please make sure to like it. It really helps us out so much, you have no idea. And subscribe to the channel so you can see more. And please share it with your friends and family who also want to keep up with the news and learn the truth about what's going on. And leave a comment below as well. I really want to hear what you have to say about Trump's historic day at the DOJ. So anyways, you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.